Today's question of the day is brought to you by Dan the Man 4700, and he asks, what is your favorite TV show? So, I cannot answer that directly because I have more than one TV show, whether it be new, whether it just takes the place of another TV show, or the fact that I cannot remember a thing. So, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to choose a top 3, and it may change in the future, or it may change at any time, but for now, I'm going to choose the top 3 cartoons and the top 3 live action shows. So, live action, of course, is nothing cartoon related, so let's go on from here. So, the first one, I would have to say Courage the Cowardly Dog. And I know a lot of people may find the cartoon disturbing, especially when it was on Cartoon Network for a while, but I absolutely loved the show for what it was. A purple dog saving 2 farmers, Eustace and Muriel, in the middle of nowhere from crazy antics that happened to come by with that family. I love how it went. I love the adventures that they have. And of course, Eustace always gets his just desserts every single time for his mockery and torture of the poor little purple dog. Come on, man. Why would you want to make fun of Courage? He saves your life more than once. But other than that, it's just kind of funny of how things or irony really hits Eustace at the end of the show. So I love that aspect. But other than that, I just love how Courage actually shows his fear by, skin coming out of his bones, or organs popping out, or his eyeballs popping out, anything in the mix. Just the animation and the action that he does, I just loved it so much. And I remember in the first few episodes that Courage actually did have a voice. They had a voice actor for Courage, but then in later episodes, they actually got rid of it, but he does say some things here and there, like, Muriel, I'll save you, and help and everything along the matters of that. But overall, it was still a great show for what it was. I just loved it. We had LeQuack as the enemy. We had Cats as the enemy. We had so many other people that some of them I just cannot remember. Just the chicken with the plunger taking people's heads off. Still, it is a disturbing show for anyone who's kind of sensitive to that sort of animation or to that sort of scenario of how they portray the situations. But I just loved it. I did not find it too disturbing for my taste. Especially when I was younger, then I don't know what went wrong with my head. I just didn't find it disturbing at all. A lot of people still find it disturbing to this day, and if anyone were to choose a disturbing cartoon from the past, Courage the Cowardly Dog is usually one of them. Especially with a lot of the scenes that it has. Like that, that cursed guy that always says, return the slab, or you will be cursed. That was one of my favorite episodes. I don't know why. It's just how everything played together. So let's move on from here. If you guys don't like Courage the Cowardly Dog, then I respect that. It's just, if you find it disturbing, let me know in the comment section. I will not make fun of you for that. It's that I could see that it is disturbing, but it just never bothered me whatsoever. So let's move on. Second show would have to be Ed, Edd n Eddy. If I could even pronounce it right. I'm going to mess this up so many times, I have no idea. But Ed, Edd n Eddy was my favorite show, especially when I first watched it, and I was so ecstatic when they were actually making brand new episodes for the time being. And the thing is that they're in school, but they still kept up with the antics. It's not so much as scamming people for their money. It was more or less just trying to get through the school year. But I guess it didn't really quite do so well in the viewership because they had to end it off with a big movie, an hour-long movie just for the ending. Even they actually acknowledged that it was ending. I kind of like how cartoons actually break the fourth wall at times. If you don't know what the fourth wall is, it's just, simply put it, that they are aware that they're either a show or cartoon or something along the matters of, like, when you play Deadpool, if you ever play Deadpool in any other game that actually acknowledges that it's a game, it just makes it a lot more fun and interacts with the audience a little bit more. Or the fourth wall on a TV show is when the actor is actually talking to the audience or facing the camera to talk to you guys, where everything else is just moving along like nothing ever happened. Like Malcolm in the Middle. Other than that, just Ed, Edd n Eddy, I just love the show so much. I remember watching it back in the 2000s and then just watching all the other shows too, but still, Ed, Edd n Eddy still has a place in my heart due to the fact that their adventures in a cul-de-sac with random other characters that they're trying to scam people out of their money. And the more I thought of it when I was older, it's just how much time and money they literally wasted trying to get a simple dollar just to buy Jawbreakers down at the store. Or Kevin, of course, his father works at the Jawbreaker factory. He doesn't really care about Ed, Edd n Eddy. Just if only they were friends earlier. Remember that episode when they're trying to be friends with him just because he has all those jawbreakers? Ah, memories. But still, just for the things that they make, the things that get destroyed, they've broken down houses, for crying out loud, just to try to get a simple dollar. It's just one of those shows that is a little bit random, but at the same time, it just works. And for those who are wondering, yes, I am placing down dirt because I don't want to see this. I want to actually have just dirt mounds going across the entire land. Especially when, if you look at the map, there's so many gray spots. A lot of this gray or a lot of this green that you see used to be all sand. And now we're just making it all green. Just for a reference to the future episodes that I'm working on. Just making everything green. So, a third show. I would have to say the Powerpuff Girls. Yeah, I know people would say it's a girl show, but at the same time, it's just, I guess it was just one of those shows that the intended audience was just not what they expected. Same thing with Pokemon. And of course, if I were to have to bring this up, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. But we'll probably talk about that in another day. Just for now, just the Powerpuff Girls and what it was back then. And even back then, not many people actually made fun of each other just because we liked a show that was not intended for the proper audience. Take a lesson here, people. People back then didn't care. Now people care. Ah, my god, how low we've become these days. But other than that, the Powerpuff Girls was so great. I just loved it with Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup. And Professor. What was his name? I'm trying to remember. Professor Utonium? I think that was the name. You got the mayor, of course. Then you got him. Fuzzy Lumpkins. You got the Gangrene Gang. Mojo Jojo. The Amiibo. What's it called? The Amiibos? The Amiibos? I don't even know those names anymore. Apparently they're not that important, especially when they're trying to actually make a name for themselves as top criminals or something like that. But still, you got so many people. It's just a wonderful show, especially when at times they do break the fourth wall. And of course, that there's the adult humor in that show that a lot of people did not actually find out until later on in the years when they saw a YouTube video or people pointed it out. Like, of course, the infamous Robin. Like, in that scene where Robin's gonna sleep over, that Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup explained to Robin that they were a mistake or they were created in a lab by accident. And of course, Robin says, "That's okay, Professor. I was an accident too." Yeah, that joke. That was kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like, ugh, you gotta be careful what you gotta say on that show, people. But at the same time, it's just like, it flew a lot of our heads at the time. Just now that we're older and we finally get the joke, it's like, wow, they got away with that? It's just like watching the Animaniacs or the other shows that have adult jokes in them too that kids will not even comprehend, but later on, when they grow up, they'll finally get it. It's just like the first few episodes of SpongeBob. I'm not going to say that's my favorite show, but it is another show that I grew up with, especially when everyone else grew up with as well. That in the first season of SpongeBob, there were a lot of jokes that flew over people's heads, and now that we're older, we finally get them. But of course, they dumbed it down to the children, because back then, I guess that SpongeBob was meant to be for teenagers and everyone else, but now they just dumbed it down for kids and up. It's just weird how TV shows just take a turn. For better or for worse, that's for you to decide. So now we got rid of all the cartoons that I choose for the top 3, so let's go on with live action. And they're kind of similar to the point where it's just meaning that I prefer to watch these shows over a lot of other shows. Well, I do like it, but it's just something that is just there to pass the time. Now, one of them will have to be Law and Order. I just love Law and Order. Depending which version you're looking at, I like the one that is for the Special Victims Unit. Great cast, great people, great emotions, and great stories, especially when a lot of them are based on true events or a lot of them that are based on real stories that, of course, they're trying to make it more dramatized, but at the same time, it does happen in an everyday basis that either law enforcement or real life people will have to face. Not will have to face, but have faced in the past, and it does exist, and there are people like that out there. So it's kind of scary to think that thing could actually happen to an everyday person. So, that's one of them. Then there's NCIS. I love that show. I just love it. It's just like kind of like a Law and Order, but at the same time, it has to deal with Marines, great cast of people, and as well as that, a lot of people you could actually make fun of, but at the same time, it's just a great, great show. I just love the aspect of Gibbs. We have Tony. We got, well, David. Either Ziva or David, however you want to call her. Then you got Abby. You got McGee. And, Mallard. Dr. Mallard. Okay. I almost forgot his name, but then, of course, I forgot the other guy, his assistant. Oh, I'm terrible at remembering stuff, but I still love the show nevertheless. And I would have to say NCIS as a close second. They're both in the same franchise, if you want to call it a franchise, or the series type of deal, where it's just NCIS LA. At first, I was reluctant to actually watch it. I thought it was just a cheap knockoff, and it was not going to do so well. But when I gave the show a chance, I just absolutely love it. It's just how well the cast and the situations are put together that makes the show what it is. And I just love it. So, third show, it would have to be a combination. Just mainly top 20 shows. Not all of them, of course. I hate the more recent ones that they put out there. But mainly, I like the one on True TV, which would have to be the 20 most shocking and the world's dumbest, where they have the top 20 with B-listed, B-cast celebrities, even though I never heard half of them. The only one I heard of course, is Danny Bonaducci. Ducci. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't. Danny Bonaducci. Oh well. He's gonna punch me in the face if he ever meets me, if he ever finds this video, but still, that's the only guy I've actually heard of. Everyone else, not so much. Back then, when they actually had the pilot, they actually just had regular old people in actual shows, or actual judges and everything along the matters of that, but I guess they changed it for the better. If you call it for the better, I know people don't like the comedy behind it, but at the same time, it just provides a good commentary. That's how I see it. My humor may not be the same as other people, but it's just as long as it keeps me entertained and keeps me focused on what's going on in the show, then it works. So, that would be it. Top 3 cartoons would be Courage the Cowardly Dog, would have to be Ed, and Eddie, and the Powerpuff Girls. The top 3 live action would have to be Law and Order, SVU, or Special Victims Unit, NCIS LA being close second, and then True TV's top 20 most shocking, or the world's dumbest, Smokey Gun presents. Lol. Just presents. I gotta work on my speech. I have a speech impediment at times when I cannot pronounce the words correctly. This all used to be sand down here too. Now I'm just making it look pretty. And also it's nighttime. And look at that. Glass on the ceiling. I'm just working on this where everybody else is working on getting charcoal and sand, and then we're going to make more glass, and then we're going to work on the ceiling a little bit more. So that is all for today. Thank you, Dan the Man 4700, for the question of the day. And if I could ask you the same question, what is your favorite TV show? Feel free to give us a list why you like it or anything along the matters of that. And if you do have a video response that you want to make, feel free to let me know in the comment section below saying that you made a video, and I'll take a look at it, and as well as that I will annotate it at the end of the video so that people will get to see it. It's going to be in a small box because the limited amount of space that I have on the intro, that's just how it's gonna work. So there's gonna be limited space, and if all has been taken, I won't be able to take any more of the responses, and I do apologize for that, but there are still more opportunities in the future episodes of when I'm asking or answering questions, since I'm gonna be making 100 videos, so this is number 1 of 100. So let's see if I'll be able to get better from here, especially when I actually had to do this the second time, due to the fact that the first time, it all got erased because my computer got just wiped out. It crashed and literally everything got lost and wiped out. But that's just for another time. So with that being said, if you guys have any questions, concerns, topics, discussions, or ideas you want to share with me in the comment section below, feel free to do so. Or if you want to message me on Twitter or Facebook, you may do that as well. And if I do answer your question in the video, I'll credit you verbally within that video, as well as I'll link your channel in the description of that video, and I will annotate your channel at the end of the video, giving you thanks for helping me out with something to do or something to talk about for that day. At least that's the thing I could get said, right? I just cannot talk anymore. My tongue's all fumbled up. Have a great day, everyone. I'm SorKing090, and as always, I will see you in the next video.